once we go live here.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone who's starting to tune in here. Again, another pregame show coming up for a game that I think we all are happy to see is actually happening. I know one we weren't 100% sure was going to be on the schedule. And joining us to get ready for UConn-Xavier is everyone's favorite Big East Twitter foe and Captain Xavier. Thanks for hopping on tonight.
What is up, man? Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So I think this is a matchup going back to last season when we got the preview in Charleston. Everyone's really been excited for. So I'm curious, what are the Xavier thoughts on UConn joining back in the Big East?
I think it's been a lot of the same, man. Like, me personally, I think a lot of people probably share the same sentiment. Like, we were hyped to have you guys, man. I mean, like, you guys, I know you guys played in the American, but like, we were from the A10, you know what I mean? From a long time. And this is our first big power conference. So, like, having a brand like UConn, like, I was hyped. And I love you guys on Twitter, man. Like, I love like that. I don't know, man. I love the culture of you guys. And it's just been so much fun. So I've been super here for it. And I think the whole fan base has.
Yeah, and I think things kicked off nicely last year with that double overtime game in Charleston. Like just really get everyone excited and amped up for this.
Started.
Yeah, exactly. So to get started, I know this season has been a crazy one for Xavier. You know, throw in the COVID situation and all of that. What has this season been like from a Xavier fan's perspective, and just your general thoughts on the team?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, honestly, it's been pretty solid. Like, it's Steele's third season, and obviously the first two seasons didn't go as expected. He brought in a decent amount of talent, like returned like Najee Marshall, Paul Scruggs, like some pretty solid recruits. But we underachieved, honestly, with pretty solid talent. And last year we came in ranked. We're supposed to be really good. I mean, I think we were ranked when we played you guys, actually.
Yeah.
But it kind of faded a little bit down the stretch. The pieces didn't fit great. So, but this has been a pretty good year. I mean, we're 11-2. We had a really big win over a top 10 Oklahoma team. We beat them by 20. So all in all, it's been a pretty solid year. I think right now we're on like the 7-8 seed line right now. So for a Xavier perspective, it's been pretty good. I mean, a solid step in the right direction, a lot of good young pieces. Obviously, like, you don't have a lot of ground to like give up, you know what I mean? But I think it's been a pretty solid season. You know, the COVID stuff, you know, is obviously, it stinks, but all things considered, the team's good, and we've been a lot better, and we're looking to be in the dance right now. So that's a huge step in the right direction.
How have things changed for this team? Because I know they open up the season blowing out Oakland, and then you get like a few hold your breath wins against some lower level competition. And then you go in and you beat up on Oklahoma. Who else was there? Cincinnati, the big rivalry game there. What kind of changed with the team from those first couple games? Was it just kind of shaking some rust off early season and getting into a groove, or was there anything in particular that changed with the team then?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a ton of dudes stepping into new roles. I mean, no Najee Marshall, no Quentin Gooden, no Tyreek Jones. And Paul Scruggs has been like he's the only 4-year player in the program, and really the only like known commodity, honestly. We knew like Fremantle was good. We knew Kiki Tandy was good. But a lot of guys stepping into new roles, and it's just a high risk. Like, it's just like a high ceiling, low floor kind of team sometimes. A lot of young players, a lot of talented young dudes. And you just kind of don't know what you're going to get. I mean, against Oklahoma, I think we hit like 19 threes, which was a school record. And then against Marquette, I think we didn't even hit a three. Yeah, we went like 0 of 12. So it's like you don't know what team you're going to get. And obviously, we've had dudes in and out with COVID and stuff. So, but also Fremantle was huge. When we were looking really, really good, Fremantle was one of the best bigs in the Big East during that time. He's had a rough month, honestly, as of late. And then Scruggs really came on. Scruggs really took the team as his own. And Nate Johnson's really been huge, too. So, but it's just a lot of dudes stepping into new roles, and I think getting more comfortable.
What's the Xavier style of play like? Because I know last year we got into one of those really grinded out, back and forth types games. Are those the games we should be expecting out of UConn-Xavier going forward?
I don't think full-time, no. I think that was kind of making the best of that roster. We had a really long, athletic, nasty group. And I think Steele really, saw the roster, saw Najee Marshall, Tyreek Jones, Paul Scruggs, a lot of like rough and tumble kind of guys, and was like, I got to make the best out of this group. This isn't going to be a team that's going to shoot the lights out. So I think he was kind of catering to his personnel. Where normally, though, we a lot of our best teams have had great shooters like Tu Holloway,
Mhm.
Trayvon Blue at JP McCura. I think normally you're going to see a lot of like offense out of Xavier and a lot of moving the ball and a lot of that kind of a style. A lot of balance, but I think last year was just kind of like the team we had, the roster we had. But I would anticipate in the future seeing a lot more shooting, a lot more space on the floor, and a lot more like getting up and down a little bit.
Mhm. You mentioned Scruggs and Fremantle, and those are the two first names that come to my mind when I think out Xavier. Outside of those two guys, who else should UConn fans be on the lookout for tomorrow?
Yeah, no doubt. This has been a team that's seen 10 plus dudes scoring double figures over the course of the season in a given game. So there's a lot of dudes that can get you. Nate Johnson's been our third best player, though. A grad transfer out of Gardner-Webb. He's got the number one 3-point shooting percentage in the country.
Oh, wow.
He's been awesome. He's been really, really good. Colby Jones, a freshman, has been awesome. A big 6'6" guy, can handle the ball, does a little bit of everything. Swiss Army knife is what Steele calls him. Dwan Odom's been a good freshman who was a nice top 50 freshman for us. But I would look out for Nate Johnson. Nate Johnson's been that third piece for us for sure.
I know when Coach Steele had his media availability yesterday, he talked about the team not necessarily being at full strength tomorrow. Has there been any kind of sort of rumblings around Xavier of who might be out tomorrow?
Yeah, we don't know. And they play it so close to the vest, dude. Like everyone wants to know, and like you'll see in like all these Xavier like group chats and stuff. You're like, is it Colby? Is it CJ? We're looking at practice photos to see who's showing.
We were doing the same thing with book night for the past like 3 weeks. So
I'm sure, and that's the huge question for us too. Is like, man, because it's just a different team.
Yeah,
but we think it's a rotational guy. I've seen Scruggs on Snapchat with Nate Johnson. They're playing with each other and doing stupid stuff in the training room. So we don't think it's gonna be like a star player. We know Fremantle's been in practice and stuff. So we're anticipating it being a rotational guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So that should be interesting to see.
For sure.
And I know that UConn was a little clearer. It came out that there won't be James Bouknight tomorrow. So
okay. Wow.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see the team. And according to Dan Hurley, he just did his media about like 10 minutes ago, and it seemed like they're a little beat up too. Tyrese Martin a little beat up.
Sure.
Isaiah Whaley, but a Cook will be back, so that'll be nice to get his presence back there. What have been your thoughts on this year's UConn team from what you've been able to see it as someone who's watching from outside and can take off the rosy colored glasses?
Exactly. I love UConn's roster. I mean, I think you look at the talent they have, and I think it's easily top 3, top 4 in the Big East. I mean, I love what they have top to bottom. And then obviously, I mean, Bouknight's, we're calling it, if we're being real, top 2, top 3 player in the Big East, if not maybe the best. I think the Creighton and Nova guys are awesome, but like Bouknight might be by himself the best player talent wise. So it's obviously a different team without him.
Yeah, definitely.
But I love their front court. I think UConn's front court is nasty. I love what UConn has in the front court. That's what I'm worried about tomorrow, is rebounding the basketball.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, UConn's strength, it really is the front court this year with Sanogo, with Isaiah Whaley. How do they match up with a guy like Fremantle, and who else do you guys have down low?
Yeah, I think it's a positive. I think that's definitely advantage UConn on the inside. Fremantle came into this season with a freshman year. He was tough, he was nasty, and did a lot of little things. I mean, he was coming in for one of the best rebounders in the country, which was Tyreek Jones last year.
Connecticut guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But he can really score the ball. He's really made like a killing outside the 3-point line, stretching the floor. And he's been kind of one of those like Euro kind of bigs, honestly, a little bit, which isn't what we expected because he's like a tough New Jersey guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of been a little bullied on the inside, man. Like he's kind of been playing a little bit of Olay defense. We kind of think he's like just trying to score in a way, and he doesn't want to foul out of games and stuff. So
yeah,
I'm not going to call him soft, but there's been times where he's just kind of playing Olay defense, just trying to stay in games. So rebounding and toughness and defense hasn't been his calling card this year. We know he can do it. It doesn't seem like that's his commitment right now. But Brian Griffin off the bench has been nice. Really nice transfer from a D2, which we didn't have huge expectations. He's been like our nice, like solid physical presence off the bench. So he's been really nice. He's been really, really good all around. But I think for Xavier, from a front court perspective, rebounding and toughness on the insides, it's going to be all about tomorrow. Like we can't be giving up 3 offensive rebounds per possession. I mean, I could see UConn really eating on the offensive glass.
I think that'll definitely be something that's going to be interesting to watch tomorrow. And I know, especially as this UConn team really comes into this game pretty desperate.
Right.
I think it's going to be just an all-out effort on the boards, especially because those are the little things they're going to have to do to win a game like this, especially on the road. What has it been like? Because I know you guys have had how many pauses have you guys had? Was it one before this one or two?
About 3 total, I
Oh,
think.
okay.
Yeah.
How have they played coming out of the pause? Because I think that's going to be interesting tomorrow. Because I know we've seen when UConn's come out of the pause, like it's like the first like 10 to 12 minutes of that first half is just like really rusty and ugly.
Yeah.
But is that how it's been for Xavier? Or?
It's funny because it's not what you would expect. Like we come out of pauses and we're shooting the lights out, but not playing a lick of defense.
Okay.
Like I think against Marquette when we came out of the pause, it was like 96 to 92. Like no one was playing a lick of defense, but we were putting the ball in the basket. So I'm anticipating it to be sharp offensively, but I could really see physically and defensively just not. I could see it being just doormat defense, but we will see. I'm anticipating it being relatively sharp, maybe a couple stupid turnovers here and there, but I think they're going to be sharp offensively. But I could see physically and tough, and from a toughness perspective, us kind of getting bodied a little bit.
All right. Well, that's something. Hopefully, UConn can take advantage of tomorrow. Just to have some fun. I know you've been great in interacting with UConn Twitter. Outside of us, who's the best Twitter fan base in the Big East?
I'm gonna go Seton Hall.
Oh, interesting. All right. I haven't had too much interaction with Seton Hall Twitter.
Sure. They're what I call like low volume but high efficiency. You know what I mean? Like there's not a ton of them, but the ones that are out there, they're awesome. I love me some Seton Hall. There's some good Providence ones. I know one wants to hear that. But Providence is like Xavier, though. They got the really good ones and some really bad ones. Really high ceiling, low floor with Providence. But I'm going to go Seton Hall. They got some good dudes. JP Carlissimo, Pantalones. Those are my dudes.
I forget because I know every school's doing it different. Are there fans at Xavier for these games?
We're doing like a really small. I think we have 300 right now per game. Really small capacity. Yeah.
All right. So
and some cardboard cutouts, yours truly included.
I like this. We got someone in the comments here questioning the Seton Hall fans out there. I like it.
Let's get
it. And I think one thing that at least still has brought UConn and Xavier fans together has been the rivalry with Cincinnati, because I know, but there's really the only AAC rival UConn's had the past few years. And
right.
What's that? I'm just curious. While I've got you on here, what's that rivalry look like from your perspective? Because Crosstown has to be a lot of fun.
It's ridiculous, dude. The schools are 2.8 miles apart. I mean, you're in every circle together. I mean, you go everywhere you go. It's like a Xavier UC. You know what I mean? It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's the game. I mean, on the night of the game, there'll be thousands of students camping out outside the stadium. Like it's
that's
nuts.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's nuts. 365 days a year. There'll be something in the middle of the summer that something gets said on Twitter, and it'll be a constant like 4 or 5 day just argument about some game from 2003. It's a ridiculous game, dude. I mean, we had the huge brawl in 2010. Bench clearing brawl where half the teams got suspended. I mean, there's been so many crazy buzzer beaters in that rivalry, and they just genuinely hate each other. Like those are like we had rivalries with Dayton, and we've had rivalries in the Big East, but I've never seen two teams just completely hate each other. And I don't think it's the best rivalry in college basketball. I don't think it's Duke, North Carolina, but from a pure passion and hate perspective, I think it's up there. I mean, it's up there with anybody. I would take the hate and the crazy passion. If only
Mick Cronin was still there, because I feel like that adds to the of it.
I miss him so much. He was the best.
It was always fun to just like
most things. He was like 4-12 versus Xavier.
Yeah. So wrap things up. Just any final thoughts? Your confidence? How you feel heading into tomorrow?
Man, it's a 50-50 ball. I'm going to be completely honest with you. If Xavier was playing normally, like if we had been playing, we've been looking like ourselves or whatever, we've played like 3 games in the last 40 days. So it's a crapshoot with us. I think Book Night's huge. I think if Book Night was playing, I'd have a really hard time picking Xavier. But I'd say without Book Night, I'm going to say 50-50. And I know like UConn, and also UConn's desperate too, dude. Like,
oh my God. That's been the one thing that's kind of been like swaying me a little bit. It's like you throw in like Xavier coming off the pause a little bit, UConn being desperate and like really needing it. Like, I'm sure Hurley's lit the fire under them the past couple days after losing to Providence.
Yeah. And I could see the first 10 minutes Xavier getting punched in the mouth, because this is a big game for UConn. I mean, I've been tracking really closely lately, like bracketology and how things look.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, UConn's like square on the bubble.
Whereas
most of the season they've been pretty safely in.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like it's go time, man, for UConn, dude. And Xavier can't give up a ton of ground, but like I could see it being a little more comfortable. But I'm just excited, dude. Like this is what it's all about. I've had this one circled on the calendar for a whole year. Like it's just gonna be a blast.
I'm glad we're getting this one in because I know we had the first one canceled. So at least we're getting one of them. And who knows what'll happen in a few weeks at Madison Square Garden, and maybe we'll get another one to keep this rivalry up. But
that'd be great. Twitter's gonna be a blast. Let's go.
Yeah, it is. I really appreciate you hopping on tonight, giving us the quick overview on Xavier, and we'll be heckling each other online tomorrow. So
no doubt about it.
Enjoy the game, and thanks again for coming on.
You too, man. Happy to do it. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks. Anytime. Awesome. You too. Thanks.